everybody, welcome to week 1 of class. So for this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you everything that you need to do for this week. It should be very simple, very easy, and hopefully you'll have a very successful first week. So you'll see that I'm on the home page of our course. Once again, I want to remind you to make sure that you're looking at times and dates that are on your Canvas and not necessarily this video, because things could have adjusted and changed by the time you're watching it. So what I want to do just to get started, hopefully you got the announcement email with all this information, but if not, no big deal. You can either click on modules. I realize your menu might look a little bit different up there on the left, or you can click on weekly modules down here. So once I click on weekly modules, you'll see week 1. So go ahead and click on that first link, which is introductions. And as I said in the introduction to the class, just make sure that you finish the introduction the introduction discussion board. That way I can get to know who you are, what you're passionate about, what your concerns are, things like that. So I'll let you look over the directions that are happening. If you feel brave enough, give me a picture of you and something you're passionate about, whether it's your family or your pets or books or whatever it may be. There's an example post for the comment as well. So please make sure that you make your initial post and also comment on it peers as well. What I love about Canvas is that it gives you a progression of the module. So once you're done with everything there, just click next and it'll take you to the next thing. So here's the intro for week 1. So for this week, as we're going over class for the unit, what we're going to focus on is W.H. Auden's poem, The Unknown Citizen. So I want you to read the poem, explore it. I'm going to give you an article that's going to give you some context to help you write about poetry and the poem as well. I'm going to give you some other additional resources, TED Talks that are going to help contextualize things. That way you've got more resources, more knowledge to be successful in your discussion board posts. Okay, so what I want you to do, I want you to think about W.H. Auden's own context. And I want you to think about how his environment has influenced his beliefs and ideas. Because as I mentioned in the first video, we are always products of our environments. If we didn't live in a particular area or have families or neighborhoods with certain ideas, beliefs, traditions, we would be completely different. So I want you to articulate in that discussion board how W.H. Auden's environment impacted the poem. So you're going to have the opportunity to write about that in the discussion board post. If you need any help, make sure you contact me via email or hop on Google Hangouts. I'll be there. Make sure you look at the times that are on your message on your Canvas right there instead of this video. You'll know when I'm going to be there. If you can't make it to those times, if you need to chat with me specifically, just email me and let's see if we can figure out a different time that I can meet you. So I've given you a schedule that you can go by here. Do you have to follow that? Of course not, but it's something that'll help you kind of get the ball rolling. There's Dwight. He's encouraging you. Okay, if you click next, you're going to get all the text that you got to go over. So there's The Unknown Citizen by W.H. Auden. The guiding question that I want you to think about as you're working through this poem is, how does W.H. Auden's context influence the poem, The Unknown Citizen? All right? So I want you to look over these two, Writing About Poetry from Purdue University, The Unknown Citizen Summary and Analysis. That's really going to help you. If you read this poem and you're thinking, I have no clue what this is about, relax. Make sure you read this right here and I'll give you some context. And here's something I want you to watch. Why you think you're right, even if you're wrong. And this is something that's going to help us kind of think through our own ideas and beliefs, where they come from, and why we hold them with such certainty. Okay, so once you've explored and read all the text and resources, click next, and then you'll get the discussion board. All right, so as we said earlier, the guiding question for the discussion board is, how does W.H. Auden's context influence the poem, The Unknown Citizen? So you're going to explore all the text. You're going to think critically about all the information you've absorbed and craft a detailed, planned response to the readings. Make sure to answer the guiding question using quoted text evidence. Use text evidence. Look at me. Look at me. Are you looking at me? Use text evidence. Use text evidence. So many times students just botch that direction and they don't get the full credit. All right? Use specific concrete examples and do your best to weave in ideas and even quotes from other supporting texts as well, maybe other texts that I gave you. Feel free to copy and paste the template below right here to flex those writing muscles and to ensure you're answering the guiding question in full. Now, don't feel constrained by this template. Do you have to use this template? No, but if you do use it, it's going to give you a format for answering all the things that you need to answer for the discussion board post. Now, you might need to add to it. You might need to manipulate and change words. That's okay. That's fine. This is going to get you going in the right direction. So let's look at it. In W.H. Auden's poem, The Unknown Citizen, he argues blank. All right. Now, this is up to you. What's the key argument that Auden is making in the poem? What do you think it is? He makes this clear when the speaker of the poem says blank. Give me a quote from the poem. That helps you understand the argument most clearly. And also when they state blank. Give me another quote. In sum, these lines from Auden argue for a worldview that sees America as blank. All right, so how do you think Auden is seeing America? And give me some context here. Make sure that you're providing connections to that quote. Sometimes students will just be like, here's a quote, here's some ideas. But connect them. Why are you using those quotes? What's going on in those quotes? How does your analysis, your explanation of those quotes connect to your original idea? Now here's where you insert your own beliefs. I believe Auden's worldview primarily comes from his blank. So throughout your research and your extra reading, what is it about W.H. Auden's background, his social context, that makes you think he came to this conclusion? There might not necessarily be a right or wrong answer here. It's just what you think based upon what you've read. So that might require you to do some Googling, do some extra reading, and that's fine. In my own opinion of this worldview, I think blank because blank. So what do you think about Auden's worldview, specifically as he brings to the table with this poem? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Would you qualify it, meaning that you accept certain tenets of it but reject others? What are those tenets? And then tell me why you think that. Okay? Pretty easy. You must also respond to one classmate by assessing what their overall argument is typo, and your opinion of their argument. Okay? Make sure to address the argument of your peer. The best way to do this is just to quote your classmates. Copy and paste. I agree with you, Bill, when you say copy paste because blah da 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 da, right? The easiest way to do this is to quote their actual words. That's the easiest way to do it. Find a quote from their submission that says, bam, that's their argument. It should be like their first sentence or their second sentence or their last sentence, something like that. Then I want you to give me your opinion of their argument. Now, so many students are so afraid to assert different ideas here that they give me non-answers. They'll say things like, Bill, your idea was so good. I'm so proud of you. I believe in you. You're great. But secretly, when you get in bed at night, you're talking to your spouse and saying, that was the stupidest post I've ever read in my life. If that's true, don't say that, but be respectful. I disagree with you when you said X because Y, right? So give me specific real-world examples that support your opinion. So if you differ from the original poster or if you agree, tell me why. Can you give me a specific real-world example? Can you give me a quote from some of our readings? Something that's going to validate the things that you're saying. Okay, in order to get full credit for this assignment, you must demonstrate that you've given a significant effort, right? Let's be honest, English is the most BSable subject. And oftentimes, y'all are just trying to fluff up words to make it seem like you did the work. And sometimes it works, but oftentimes, I've got a radar that's like, that you're just, trying to pull the wool over my eyes. So demonstrate that you're actually putting in the work here, that you've actually read all the text and you're thinking about it critically. Please make sure that you're proofreading and checking for any grammatical or syntactical errors. You've got to show me that you deeply understand the text. So if you've read the poem once, like, I don't get it, and then you're just kind of throwing something out there, well, it's because you only read the text once. Read it again. It's a poem. And then also read the surrounding text. Do a little Googling. Do the work here. It's not a lot to read. All right? You got to have a minimum of 200 words for the initial post, and especially if you consider the template, that's nothing. So you might need to write more than that. That is a minimum. Does it mean that if you write 200 words that you're going to get an A for sure? No. That means that is a minimum. A minimum. Same thing with your comment. 100 words minimum for the comment. That is very, 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 very few words. You should probably write more than that if you're aspiring to a B or even an A. Okay? All right, so that's what's going on. Let this be your time to shine. Show me that you're doing the work, that you're doing extra work. If you're shooting for that A, show me that you're doing extra work, that you're Googling, that you're deeply researching W.H. Auden, that you're deeply researching this poem. If you really want that A, go the extra mile. Okay? All right, and so once you finish that discussion board, that's essentially bada bing, bada boom. That's the end of the module, and then you're done. So please make sure that you're looking at the dates that are going on here. You're going to get access on this first day, and everything will be due at 11:59 p.m. on the 29th. So if you're looking for more resources, please make sure you're making use of the Academic Learning Center. I've got some helpful links and documents right there. Those are going to help a little bit more with essays later on. So once again, if you need help, please make sure to contact me, and I would love to assist you in any way possible. Y'all have a great week.